19-year-old Danilo Venegas had just finished his supper of gallo pinto and grilled meat at a restaurant. It was a hot July night in Managua, Nicaragua. He didn't want to go home because of family problems, so he stood leaning against a lamppost, taking in the sights and sounds of the city. Laughter and music from a nearby party echoed down the street. Two young men from the party saw Danilo leaning against the post. They assumed he was a man who had left the party earlier after getting into a fight about a girl there. Blinded with rage, the two men were bloodthirsty for revenge. They came up behind Danilo and hit him on the head with a bottle, knocking him unconscious momentarily. Seconds later, Danilo awoke to a sharp pain in his ribs. One of the men had thrust a large knife into his side. Mustering all his strength, he punched his attacker. The second assailant rushed at Danilo with a sharpened piece of iron. Danilo once again gave a swift punch and was amazed to see the man blown back several feet as well. God was fighting for Danilo. He quickly shuffled into a nearby alley as even more men from the party chased after him. But Danilo's neighbors who lived there recognized him and defended him from his attackers. 3 of the neighbors rushed Danilo to the hospital. He was unable to move and appeared dead. When they got to the emergency room, the doctor was there with 2 nurses. Danilo's friends yelled for a doctor to help. The doctor on duty coldly asked that this dead body be removed from his office. One of Danilo's friends hit the doctor and said, "We brought him here for you to help, not for you to tell us he is dead." The doctor, angry and offended, kicked out Danilo's friends. He then grabbed a pair of gloves and began to open the wound. Danilo jumped from the pain, shocking the doctor. He had the nurses prep Danilo for surgery, and they quickly took Danilo into the operating room. The next day, Danilo awoke, all hooked up in the ICU and surprised to still be alive. It was a miracle from God. The days dragged by, and the recovery was painstakingly slow. On the 4th day, Danilo felt a cold chill begin to fill his inside. His left arm was numb and purple. He looked at his right hand and watched as it also began to turn purple. All of a sudden, he heard a snap as if his spirit left his body. The next instant, he was looking down from the ceiling at his body in the bed. He felt a strong sensation of peace. He watched as the doctor and nurses worked intently to resuscitate him. A nurse used a defibrillator to revive him, and suddenly, Danilo was sucked back into his body. God wasn't done with Danilo. Danilo was in the hospital 4 more days, totaling 1 month in the hospital. He made a full recovery from his injuries. He is a walking miracle. Doctors said he shouldn't be alive, but God has the final word. Today, Danilo is an HIM pastor in Managua, Nicaragua, reaching out to his community with the love of Christ. As a man who was saved from sin and death, he is motivated by love and thankfulness to help others prepare for eternity.